going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new and exciting update special, Viall Files Classic Style. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever holiday you are celebrating. And as you prep for this new year, I just want to say Happy New Year, I guess. Also, can I just say, thanks for listening to the Viall Files. What a year we've had. It's our best year ever. We've had our best year ever for every year that we've ever been in existence, and this year is no different, and we just want to thank you all. So that's an update from us. We love you. We're kicking ass. Allie's with me today. How you doing, Allie?
Just dandy.
What did you ask for Christmas?
My Christmas list was very, very delayed because I feel like with moving and everything, I just that was the last thing that was on my mind. So it was just a hodgepodge of random stuff. Everything from an eyebrow gel that I asked Natalie to recommend to a Juicy Couture set.
How many presents do you get from mom and dad?
I don't know. I don't count them. Did you get Natalie stuff?
Not yet.
Nick?
What?
Christmas is in 5 days.
I have a list.
What if it's not available?
Well, I have a list. I mean, there's always, it'll be fine.
That would keep me up at night. I can't do that.
I'll survive.
Well, should we get a written update?
We do. Let's get to our
caller?
update. But once again, we just want to say thank you, everyone. It's been a hell of a year. Can't thank you guys enough for being with us this year. It was a wild 2023 for this show, for me. Exciting things to come. We're going to kick things off with a bang in 2024. Really excited about some of the juicy episodes we're going to bring you. Really kicking things off strong. Really excited about that. Anyways, all right, let's get to our written update as I reminisce about the exciting episodes that I'm not going to tell them about yet.
So our first written update is from Melissa, who joined us on episode 666 with the title, My Boyfriend's Job is Ruining Our Relationship. And you had recommended calmly, expressing her unhappiness in a letter, saying that she might have to walk away from the relationship. And we wanted to
Is this
this
with the TikTok that went super viral? I remember 666. Obviously, it being a weird
There was
number.
a lot of good, content made out of that episode.
Was that it, though?
I don't know if it was her call.
All right, well, let's play a quick update just to remind our audience of this caller. How's it going?
My boyfriend's business is ruining my relationship.
Okay. Is he the owner of this business? Yes. Okay, he is.
Yep.
Okay. How old is he?
25 as well.
Okay. What's the business?
Construction.
Okay. Well, tell us about some of the challenges that you're facing.
So I just feel like with the business, so we both still live at home with our parents, which is also adding to it. But I feel like I'll never be number one priority. That's kind of like the realization at this 2-year mark that I'm coming to is I'm worried I'll never be number one and it'll always be about the business. So that concerns me. He doesn't really like to talk about the future. And I've told him, what is your timeline for future, engagement, kids? Where do you even stand with that? And I just get the answer of, I can't even think about that right now. There's so much other stuff going on. That's not even really on his radar. So that's concerning to me because I'm okay, we're 2 years in. What am I doing here? Because I don't have a job where I go home and think about it. I go to my job, I come home and that's it, the end of the day. And I just feel has a ton of goals, which is fine. I want him to succeed in all of that and I want to support him. But I feel I have this resentment towards his business because it's just taking up all his time. And I'm where do I fit in?
I'm guessing you wouldn't feel this way if he somehow made it clear to you that everything he's doing is for the both of you.
Right. And I've told him that. I said it'd be different if we were having conversations and the conversation was, I'm doing this for us and I'm doing this for our future kids and our future life together. But the conversations aren't that tone.
Yeah. Because I work really hard and I'm, there have been times where I'm gone 13 hours a day often,
right.
And at time, it's just a big priority for me to either check in with Natalie or include her or bring her along when I can, if it makes sense. And then if nothing else, it's always, this is for us, this is, I'm trying to, this is an us thing,
Yeah.
And that goes a long fucking way.
Right. Because I don't feel like I have the reassurance that you'd even see us together long term.
On the flip side, you
term.
are only 25.
Right.
So there is that. But so I guess I'm thinking out loud here, but it's not, regardless of your age, it's not fair to you to be in a 2-year relationship with zero answers about what the future looks like.
Right. And I'm not asking for an engagement tomorrow or anything like that. Like, there's no pressure on that. I just want to know where his head at. And I feel like he's really unwilling to even like think about that part of life because he's so business oriented right now. It's like a horse with blinders on. Like, it's just the business and like nothing else. So I think it's hard when we only hang out on the weekends and then say like Sunday comes along and he's like, okay, like I got to go to the office and I got to do X, Y, and Z. And like during the week, he's waking up early, which is fine. But then like we don't talk until I want to say like 7, 8 p.m. And then like he's going to bed at like 9:30 because he gets up so early.
So there's no, and then why don't you guys live in the same neighborhood? Like, why do you still live with your parents? I'm not saying that judgmentally, but like, that is a choice you're making at 25.
Yeah, I think neither of us want to rent because we just feel like at this point that'd be like throwing away money. He actually just recently bought a rental house through the business. And I think for me, I have a lot of resentment towards that because I'm like, you could have used that opportunity for us. You could have, bought a different house, that we could have afforded together. I love that he's driven and I love like that side about him. And I think that I feel safe and I feel comfortable and I do feel loved by him. But a lot of the times I'm like, I just don't know if he's showing me in the ways that I need like forever. So I think that's also been something I've been struggling with.
When you communicate this stuff to him, like, how does he respond? Is it always some version of, I don't have time for this right now?
He's like, I don't really know what you want me to say. That's normally like he just like,
well, that's saying a lot
to me. It's like, yeah,
there's a million things you could say. You could say,
comfort me.
Yeah, you could say, babe, you're right. I know. Like, if nothing else, a bare minimum answer from him would be some version of, you're right, babe. I know. I need, like, it's valid for you to feel this way. I'm just really busy. I'm having a hard time managing, all the things that are going on with the business. But like, I do want, I love you, and it's important for me to make you feel a certain way, and I want you to feel X, Y, and Z, and I'm sorry I'm letting you down right now, and can you just be a little more patient with me? Like, that would be bare minimum. Mm-hmm. Right now, the only thing I have is a weekend boyfriend who really constantly always makes me feel like he doesn't have time for me, gives me no insight, zero, into like what a future looks like for us. Right now, it sounds like he only wants to have a girlfriend for the occasional, sex and convenience because he doesn't want to like get on the apps.
Right. Which I think about, I'm like, if we even like to myself, I think this, I'm like, if we even broke up, like he wouldn't even, like, I know he wouldn't make the time to date somebody else. I mean, there probably not. No way.
Yeah, he probably would, and if it would just be very casual. It would be very meaningless, and it would just be something to do in the little bit of free time he has. But he could say, listen, of course I want kids. Of course I want to get married, but we're only 25. And right now, like, I really want to like be successful. And at 25, for someone who's very career driven, this is the time for him to be selfish and to invest in his career. And so, I get that. And if he wants to be in a relationship while all at the same time selfishly focusing on his career, he still needs to like make some concessions and some choices. So again, at a bare minimum, he could be like, obviously I want to have kids. I see a future with you. I'm not ready to get married anytime soon. I want to be upfront about that. But at the same time, I want you to feel like a priority. And I know at times I'm probably going to let you down, but I really want to. It is a priority for me to make you feel this way. And what can we do? He can't 100% of the time just say he's too busy with you for you and give you absolutely nothing when it comes to talking about the future.
I think that's my biggest thing is like, you're not like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know anything about, like, I'm trying to plan mine, which obviously I can't plan it right now either, but like to have an idea and just like open up those conversations, and there's just nothing. Like,
I
there's a
honestly
wall.
think the only way to save this, honestly, is probably to break up with him and see if it's a shock to his system.
Okay.
I think before you do that, maybe you got to write him a letter or sit down with him and really articulate how you feel. You have to stay super calm about it and just kind of like, hey, listen, man, I care about you. I love you. I want to see you happy. I know I understand that right now, at this point in your life, that your business is your number one priority. I get all that, but
Right.
you are asking me to stay in this relationship with absolutely no guarantees, no information, nothing. And that's just not fair to me. And if you can't give me that,
Right.
I understand. But if that's where you're at, I can't be in this relationship. And I just, you can't ask me to invest in you and get nothing in return.
Yeah.
And see what he says. Quite honestly, maybe the answer is he's not in a position to be a boyfriend right now. He needs to believe that you're capable of being fine without him if he's not willing to step up and give you what you need, because he is assuming you're just going to sit around. It's kind of a game of chicken right now.
Yeah.
He's going to have to really believe that he lost you, and he's going to have to fight for you to have you back in his life, and you're going to have to really believe it. And
Right.
as busy as he is, there's a way for him to make it work with you if he really wanted to.
Right.
And he might just, the only excuse I will give him is that maybe he's just, he is trying to accomplish a lot at a young age, and it might just be too much for him,
Yeah.
And it's not a fault. I'm not judging him, but
Right.
he needs to recognize that he is falling short as a partner, that he should want to be a better partner in the future. All right. What do they have to say?
Melissa writes, so a couple days after I talked with Nick, I actually ended the relationship. I think talking with you guys just really reinforced what I've been thinking for a while, and I already had my thoughts gathered on what I wanted to say. We met up for dinner and then had an hour-long convo in the car after, where I just explained how I was getting no reassurance from him and waiting around for him to start the next chapter of my life. I left the convo open, seeing what he would say to my thoughts, and he agreed. He said the relationship wasn't fair to me anymore and that his job doesn't allow him to be a great boyfriend. He didn't try to fight for the relationship or say things would change, so we ended with love and no hard feelings. We talked for a few days after, but since then have been no contact. Honestly, it's been such a relief to be single. I was on the apps for maybe about a week, but it was too overwhelming, so I'm taking time just to enjoy this season of life. I've learned I'm a little emotionally exhausted from trying to make everything work in my relationship, so moving forward, I don't have the energy yet to put into dating, which I'm okay with. Someone will come at the right time and give me all the things that my ex was lacking. Breaking up took the pressure off feeling like I needed to get engaged, married, have kids at this age, and to just live my life without that weight on me. So thank you, Nick, and the rest of the Viall team for helping me confirm what I wanted to do and to make the final decision to be single.
Okay. Well, sad but great update. Clarity.
It doesn't seem like she's sad. I think she feels really reassured in her decision.
Every relationship is sad when it ends, but yeah, it looks like she needed the motivation to end a relationship, and we, like so many before her, we gave her that motivation.
But I just feel like sometimes you need that external almost confirmation of what you feel like you're feeling inside. It's like when you go to McDonald's and you're like, do I want chicken nuggets or a hamburger? And then you're like, what should I get? And your friend is like, chicken nuggets. You're like, yes. Or if they said burger and you're like, oh, no, I'll ask someone else.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. What is next for her?
I think just enjoying this season of life. Doesn't sound like she wants to be on the dating apps right now. I'm glad that she listened to herself and didn't just like keep pushing that pressure, because I do feel like, I don't know, at least like for me, I've had a lot of questions in the holiday season. People know I'm moving. It's like, well, how's dating going? Are you seeing anyone? No. Well, are you on the apps? Like that's like been everyone's follow-up question. It's just like, I want it to become a little bit more socially acceptable to not like feel like you have to have a part-time job of dating. Like, I feel like every person follows up with, oh, you're not seeing anyone. Are you trying? Are you on the apps? Like, whatever. Like, it's a lot.
I just, are you ever making comments about being single?
No, like, these are like, again, just like holiday party conversations that have popped up. Like, are you seeing anyone? Have you? And I'm like, no, not at all. Well, are you on the apps?
Yeah, I think that just kind of often comes with people's natural questions. Sometimes it could be like, oh, yeah, are you seeing anyone? No, I'm honestly just busy with I got so much going on right now. Moving, work, like a bunch of stuff and projects. Like, oh my God, I wouldn't even have time for that. Like as if like, oh, sounds fun, but wish I had time. But I have so many other exciting things going on. Well, I think it reduces that, those follow-up questions. As opposed to, are you dating anyone? No, I'm not. Then it's like, well, I mean, what are you doing? Like, can I help? It's like, I think sometimes people try to be helpful even when that help isn't asked for.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's sometimes how we answer those questions can go a long way. All right. Well, we appreciate her update. Sad that the relationship ended. Happy that she is feeling good about it. Let's get to our first caller. Once again, want to say thank you to you all. Thank you for supporting this show. Thanks for being with us this year, whether you listen to one episode or all of them. I don't know how many episodes we dropped this year.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, a lot. 150 something ish, 160 ish, 170. Anyways, we thank you. Also, because I know you guys love updates, we do have an update from our dear lady. Yeah, pun intended.
Our dear friend.
Our dear friend who texted her husband and asked for a divorce while she was on with us because she had not seen her husband in quite some time. We did get an update from her. That update is now available behind Viall Files Plus. Go ahead and check it out. Do we title those? How would someone go find them?
On Viall Files Plus?
Yeah.
So I wrote the title of the episode and I did make it Our Dear Friend Returns. Okay, great. Go check out that episode. It's named Our Dear Friend Returns. Go to viallfiles.com. It's free to sign up. So if you only want to hear that update, you are welcome to. You get a 7-day free trial and there's 20 some other update specials. So be sure to check them all out. I know you guys love your updates. All right, I'll stop talking. Let's get to our first update.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
Welcome back, Charlie.
Hello. Thank you for having me back, Nick.
Thanks for joining us. So you called in. It was on the episode with Lewis Howes. You were crushing on a coworker? Ish.
He wasn't a
colleague.
Wasn't a coworker.
Another journalist in a different town or something, and you had no idea if he was gay or straight, but you had a handful of interactions where he seemed maybe flirty, kind of breadcrumbing you a little bit, talked about visiting you, but never really did. Does this all sound accurate?
Yes, sounds accurate. Yep.
Okay. Let's play a quick clip for our audience, for those of you who didn't get to listen to that episode with Lewis. How's it going?
Hi, Nick. I'm Charlie, and I'm 24, and I'm a gay man, and I can't tell if the guy that I like is also gay.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit more.
All right, so it all started when I first followed him on Instagram a while ago when I was a senior in college. He announced that he got a job in the same state as me. Not in the same city, but in the same state. So he was the only person that I knew from back at home that also got a job in the state. So I slid up and I was like, oh my gosh, congratulations. How cool. From there, we just kind of kept on like DMing back and forth. We started our jobs at the same time. So we'd always post about our jobs and we'd always like just kind of talk about like the industry. In the beginning of summertime, he had reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm going to be in your city. Would you want to get drinks with me? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. No problem. And I didn't really think much about it at the time. But then as like the time started creeping up, I was like, wait, is this just kind of like a casual meetup because we're both, in the same industry, or is this kind of like a date? And when I met him, the first thing he does is give me a bro clap up. And I was like, okay, yep, this guy is straight. So
what was he doing in your city? Was he like, was it for work?
I was just about to get to that. Okay. He was on a a friend's trip. Like his friends just took a weekend trip to my city. Eventually, that's when I found out that he was here on a weekend trip with his friends. And when we went out, it was a Saturday. So I kind of just think like if you're on a weekend trip with your friends, like Saturday night is like the night when you like do stuff. And again, he has a beach house like in my like hometown. So he posted on his Instagram story like a picture of the beach with the location. I stood up on it. I was like, hey, I'm jealous, whatever. And he was like, I'll bring you back some popcorn because like in our town, like popcorn and eventually saltwater taffy are like big deals in our area. He was like, okay, like what kind? And I was like, I'm just kidding. You don't have to get me anything. So we kind of like left it at that.
Now this sounds very flirtatious.
Yeah.
That starts to sound a little flirtatious to me.
Again, I don't really know. And so he later that week, he like texted me. He was like, hey, like I'm here at the saltwater taffy place. Like, what kind of saltwater taffy do you want? And I was like, I was just kidding. You don't have to get me anything. And he was like, no, like, what do you want? And I was like, I don't even know like what kind of flavors they have. They have so many. And he was like, a variety pack it is. And I was like, well, you don't have to do that.
Man,
but,
there's some
there's a lot
there.
There's a lot of women out. There's a lot of women out there like listening to this, being like, I wish the guy I liked paid this much effort, like paid this much attention and went out of his way.
A week later, I remembered that I liked taffy.
Yeah, right. The variety pack. I don't want to miss out.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And like again, like I have like straight friends, and like I just feel like that's not usually something like that they would do, or I wouldn't expect them to.
They would do that with a woman they're interested in.
Yeah.
So eventually, we go back to just like DMing back and forth, like. No big deal, just like commenting like weird things. And eventually we would sometimes like continue the conversation, and then he would just bring up like visiting. And I'm like, yeah, like come visit. But then there would just like be like no action. So then eventually
like a
couple weeks ago, me and my friend, we went to visit this new city that I wanted to explore. And I posted on my Instagram, there's 2 comments on that post, and he put 3 emojis that I was just like, I don't know what that means. He put
what are they?
He put the shocked face emoji, heart eyes, and then yes, and then a hand making a heart. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but of course, me being me, I'm like, ah. And so for the rest of the week, I'm like trying to figure out a way that, you know, I can have an excuse to like text this man.
So where are we? Where are we now?
So that was like the last time we talked. He said happy birthday to me. My birthday was like on Sunday, he said happy birthday. And like I was kind of dramatic about it. I was like, I really hope he like says happy birthday. And literally as I was dozing off into my slumber on the last few minutes of my birthday,
this guy's interesting.
I get a text message from him, and he says happy birthday. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. And then that was it.
Who pays that much attention on birthdays also to be at midnight with a guy? You know, it's like you don't do that with your girlfriends. Well,
it wasn't. I was going to sleep around like 10 o'clock, so it wasn't midnight. But
he took the time. He's just very intentional with you. You're not crazy, right? I think Lewis and I agree that you're not crazy to wonder. The heart eyes emojis. You have the right to ask, or at least, you know, put it out there.
Now, you might ask and he may say no.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not true that he has curiosities or he's gay or he's interested in you. He just may be afraid to be vulnerable and open.
Like, I also don't know if I'm mistaking like kindness, but because he's a very nice person for like flirting. But then in my experience, I'm like, I just feel like I can usually tell. But in this instance, I just cannot tell whatsoever.
If your goal is, and Lewis asked you, what is your goal? And you said, I just want to find out, man, where I stand with him, if he's into men, yes or no. And the only way to get a clear answer is just to politely ask.
No, yeah.
And I bet the biggest fear is like the story will end.
Yeah.
This story that you've been living in for 2 years is either going to end or evolve in some way.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a death. If I have this conversation, this relationship has the potential to die. And you don't want that to die because it's interesting, it's curious, it's fun, it's scary, it's risky. You're feeling things you've never felt probably. Or maybe you have and you like them. But it may not be healthy feelings. They may be exciting feelings, but those chemicals may be from a wound rather than from a healed place. And that may be the attraction where you're getting all this like energy and these chemicals and what's the emoji? Is he gay? Is he straight? What if he converts from straight to gay for me? All these different stories that could be in your mind or maybe not, but that's a lot of chemicals.
But you probably fantasized about all these storylines. Have you gone to bed and been like, oh my God, like what if he did this? Oh my God.
All right, well, fine. Is this an active situation?
It is an active situation, yes.
Oh God, I'm so excited.
All right. But you have to promise, if we're gonna draft it, you have to promise to send it.
And you have to show us that you're sending it.
Fine. Deal.
Do we have your word? How would you start it?
Okay.
I want it to be in your
word.
Like,
hey, so a bit of an odd question, but it's been something that I've been thinking about recently.
Okay.
And I would just like some clarity.
There you go. Okay. Perfect. Direct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be some long, drawn out.
Yeah.
It can be short and sweet.
I've really enjoyed getting to know you and talking to you guys said.
Yeah, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, our connection or our interactions.
Okay. Would saying, and I'd be lying if I said that I haven't caught feelings.
You could do
Would
that.
that be,
sure.
Is that good?
Yeah, if that's how you feel, I'm fine with that. And then you could say, that being said, I have really no idea, if you're even, who you date or if you're even interested in men at all.
Yeah. And I have no expectations.
And I have no expectations, but I wanted to put myself out there and simply just kind of check in. Right. I hope that, and you kind of finish it how you want.
And I appreciate our friendship either way.
Yeah. I wanted to be respectful and just be direct and come out and ask you.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, I really have no idea if you're interested in guys at all. I thought it'd be more mature to just ask you directly.
And regardless, I really value our and regardless of how you feel, I value our friendship.
There you go.
Okay. I'm just going to read it one more time before I send it, just to make sure there's no grammar issues. Because if he's not interested, at least my grammar's right.
There you go.
All right. So, hey, blank, this is a bit of an odd question, but I've been thinking about it a lot, and I would just like some clarity. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I'd be lying if I said that I haven't caught some feelings. That being said, I really have no idea if you're interested in guys at all. I thought it'd be more mature just to ask you directly. I have no expectations, and regardless of how you feel, I value our friendship. I hope to hear from you.
Perfect. Send it.
Send it.
Okay, we're sending it. Oh!
Let's see that it's blue.
Let's see the blue. There we go.
Yes.
There we go. Congratulations.
That's huge.
I'm gonna die.
That's exciting.
You are not gonna die. You did a great thing. Go
oh my God.
buy treat yourself today.
Okay.
Whatever you do to treat yourself. All right, and we're back. All right, so we had you send a text, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you read that text back to us?
Yeah, so the text was, hey, blank, this is a bit of an odd question, but I've been thinking about it a lot, and I would just like some clarity. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I'd be lying if I said that I haven't caught some feelings. That being said, I really have no idea if you're interested in guys at all. I thought it'd be more mature just to ask you directly. I have no expectations, and regardless of how you feel, I value our friendship, and I hope to hear from you.
What a nice little message we crafted together.
I know. Like, really, honestly, that message, I was like, chef's kiss. Like, my friends were like, that was a good message. So thank you for helping me.
Yeah, no problem. How did you feel after you sent it? And how long did it take for him to reply?
It took exactly one day.
One day.
24 hours.
Okay. All right. And what were you doing in those 24 hours?
Honestly, so as soon as I sent it, I had to start getting ready for work and everything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to drive myself crazy, like seeing if he like answered. So I'm just going to put his notifications on do not disturb. That way I'm like not tempted to like look at my phone all the time. And so I was like, you know what? It's a busy news day anyway. So like I'll be distracted. I won't really have time to think about it. Yeah. So I went to work as usual. It was a busy day, so I wasn't really thinking about it as much. I was kind of thinking about it, wondering if we answered, but I was just like, you know, let me just work today, and then we'll check it like later. When I got out of work around like midnight, I saw like he still hadn't responded, and I think he works like the same shift as me, so I was like, he probably is also busy, so it's fine. And also, I was explaining it to my friends, and they were like, yeah, it'd probably take him a little bit to kind of respond to a text message that heavy. And I was like, yeah. So the next day, I still hadn't gotten a message from him in the morning. So I just was doing my errands. And I remember I was cleaning my car and I was actually on FaceTime with my friend, kind of telling her like what happened. And then it was funny because my car was on and my phone was connected to my car. So he texted me. And so my car thought I was driving. So it immediately responded saying, sorry, I'm driving at the moment. I can check this when I get to wherever I'm going. Which I think is like the most...
It's amazing.
No, literally the most aggressive text automatic reply ever. So I saw after I was done cleaning my car, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, he responded. And I'll read you the text message.
Okay.
It was actually a very, very good response. So here it goes. He said, hey man, exclamation point. I actually really appreciate the honesty and clarity. I know it's not easy, but you are right. I don't like guys. I totally understand where you're coming from. And I don't think this changes much between us. I still have lots of love and respect for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like literally. Like, well, listen. I think that the best case scenario was he was like, I like you too. Awesome.
Yeah, the best case scenario is like, hey, where can we meet up? Let's get naked.
Yes, exactly. I don't know about all that. But best case scenario could have been like, I reciprocate the feelings. But I feel like if he like, since he is not gay, I feel like this was like the best response. I was kind of nervous that he was going to be kind of like mean and
well, there was no reason for him to be mean, especially after our masterful text message, because you know we didn't put him on the spot. Yeah, I mean, it was just like, hey, all you really did is flatter him with a compliment.
That's true, and I was actually really happy with that response. I just like loved it, and then I told him, I was like, I really appreciate you giving me some clarity and closure. I'm just like, I'm glad this doesn't change anything because I really enjoy our friendship.
Yeah, and unless he was like some homophobic guy who got super aggro with the even mention of the curiosity that he might be into men, but he must know, obviously, you're gay, and he was spending a lot of time with you, so clearly it was always going to be possible for you to be attracted to him, and unless you guys, talked about each other's sexuality, it was always going to, be possible. So thankfully, he sounds like a mature, nice guy. And so, now you know. But my big question to you is, do you really think that nothing's going to change?
Listen, I've been listening to your podcast, and I think that you say that you kind of just have to take people at like their surface value. Like if they say something, you kind of just have to take them at their word. So if he says that he's not, I'm just going to choose to take him at his word.
Okay.
And, there's nothing I can do at this point. Like the ball is in his court, whether or not he wants to do anything with that.
I guess a more question for you in the sense that like when you first called, there was a lot of confusion at times with his interactions, but you liked him, so just like when anyone likes someone, there's you care more, and so when you're like, oh, I want them to reach out, and I want them to ask him how I'm doing, and I want them to like text me, and I want them to like see if he wants to, that they want them to take me out or yada yada. Now that you know that this friendship is just that, a friendship, and that the whole mysterious, all the mystery around like, is he flirting with me or not? Do you think, are you happier in a sense? Because now, like, how old are you again?
24.
24. Okay, yeah. But even at 24, I wasn't like, why aren't my buddies texting me back, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
It changes. Do you think it changes that dynamic in a good way, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, the thing is, like, it's funny, like, after he responded, I was like, I felt fine. I wasn't like sad or anything like that. I will say that I told myself, like, I'm like, kind of like on the high of like, I have my answer, I'm good. But I was like, at some point, I'm probably going to feel like a little sad. And so eventually I did kind of get like a little sad about it. And I did find myself being like, oh, like I posted something on my Instagram story and I was like, I wonder if he's going to look at it. I'm like, it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
I can't like
that shit. You gotta cut that shit out. Yeah,
exactly. And now I'm happy to say that like now I have posted things and stuff like that. And I don't even look to see who watched it, because again, the only reason why I was like ever really ever looking to see if anyone watched it was to see
him.
if he watched
Yeah.
it. And it was funny because he did post something like yesterday, like a picture. I guess he's like back at home, and he posted something that looked like it was something that reminded me of home. And I feel like before I would have like slid up on it and been like, oh my God. And like that would have been an interaction. I would have been so excited. But I kind of like took like an extra like 3 seconds, like looking at it. And I was like, should I say something? And I was like, what are my intentions behind it? Like, am I going to slide up because I genuinely just interested in the post and like want to say something and have something to say? Or am I just trying to get my fix of trying to get his attention?
Yeah.
And I realized that I was really just kind of craving the attention because, again, nothing else going on. And I was like, that's not a good reason to slide up. So I just kept on going and just kind of left it at that. I'm proud of myself for kind of just being strict on myself on making sure I'm not like moving backwards, just moving forward with my life.
All right, man. Well, happy to hear.
Yeah.
It sounds like, progress. This is all good news. Yeah. Not the
Yes.
greatest of news, but yeah, I think that's the big thing going forward for you is just kind of like catching yourself in those little moments of why, what are my intentions here? Because yeah, that will just save you it'll save a lot of energy, because you obviously spent a lot of energy in the past wondering about this guy, and now you don't have to wonder. So don't create situations just for the sake of it that make you wonder. He's your pal.
No, exactly. Well, because the other thing too was before that post, a couple days after I sent the text message, I was like just relaxing at home, and I remember I just like went to bed early. I went to bed at like 9:00 that night. But then the next morning I woke up and I had a text message from him at like 12:30, like midnight. And he was asking like randomly, he was like, have you heard from our waitress friend, the waitress from the night we went out? And at my first instinct was to like be like, why is he texting me at midnight and about this random thing? But then I was just like, you know what? Again, I can't keep going in circles thinking about like reasons on why he's reaching out to me. He was probably just genuinely curious on how she's doing.
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
I was just like, I just answered the question and left it at that. So
All right.
we're doing good. And also I think the timing of everything, like I think because it's the end of the year, yesterday I was talking to my friend and she was like, we should like write down like a list and of things we're going to leave in 2023. And I was like, we're going to leave like putting all of our energy in boys in 2023. 2024, we're going to like focus on career, focus on like hobbies and all this stuff. Cause again, like my contract at my job ends in like 5 months. And I'm like, I have to focus on a bunch of different things instead of putting all my energy in like a boy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Just let boys.
So if y'all hiring, let me know, Nick. Okay.
All right. All right, buddy. Charlie, thanks so much for calling. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Good luck in the new year. And we appreciate the update.
Thank you so much, Nick. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
You as well. Take care. All you shoppers out there, if you are tired of going to all the stores and seeing, a lack of creativity, a lack of uniqueness, well, you got to check out Quince. Quince creates timeless essentials that never go out of style. You'll have them in your closet forever. The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to you. That's right. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. And we love that for sure.
So I got a workout set from Quince, and I feel like everyone in the gym was noticing how cute it was. It was like this dark blue color with like a tank top and then biker shorts on the bottom. So they matched together, and it's super soft. But I think oftentimes when you work out, you're afraid like, oh, how high quality is it? Because you don't want it to slip. You want it to stay put and be very supportive. And 10 out of 10.
Upgrade your closet with Quince. Go to quince.com/VIALL for free shipping and 365-day returns on your order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/VIALL to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/VIALL. Drizzly, the #1 way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your doorstep when you need it. We love Drizzly. I mean, it makes life easier, and that's what we love here at the Viall Files. It doesn't matter what the use case is, Drizzly is helping everyone, especially. They know they helped a lot of people this holiday season. As the holiday parties continue, do not forget to utilize Drizzly because they can bring the beer, wine, and spirits to your door and let the party keep going. Drizzly has such a great selection. They certainly have your classics like Bullet Bourbon, Don Julio, Desperado, Kettle One, and so much more.
Might I also recommend, it's a holiday season. A lot of times you might be staying at other people's homes. What an amazing housewarming present as well. I recently was staying with someone and wanted to give them a bottle of champagne, but didn't have room in my suitcase. And my friend just suggested, why don't you drizzly it to their apartment? So as I was unpacking, it came to the door and I pretended like I had it with me all along.
There you go. Download the Drizzly app today or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com. Must be 21 years or older, not available at all locations. It's the go-to app for alcohol delivery. Again, download the Drizzly app today or go to drizzly.com.
All right, so we have another written update from our caller, Aaron. You might remember Aaron because the tagline was, I had a threesome and everyone caught feelings.
Yeah, I remember. How long ago was that? What episode was that?
It was originally on episode 640, and then Aaron joined us for an update classic, which was episode 646. We wanted to know how everything had gone with Nat and Rory and kind of figure out how their vibes and dynamics were.
Let's play a quick clip.
And she wrote in because she was in a threesome where everyone caught feelings.
Ah, yes.
Remember, her friend caught feelings for her again.
She was,
had feelings.
New, like she dated more women than men, but she was
The friend.
her too, I thought, right?
Did
She
she
was
say
just
she
like-
dated more women?
I
She was
felt
definitely bi.
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
felt like she leaned more toward, like, I felt like this guy was an outlaw. I think
the guy was an outlier for the friend, but they were just fuck buddies.
Yes,
Okay.
I think that was the friend. I also
Rory.
remember
Yes.
that
and Nat.
the guy, the caller had seen him outside of the threesome and hadn't told the friend
Yeah,
about
she
it. And
hadn't
that was
told
like a big
Nat
part
that
of the like
she'd hung out with
betrayal.
Rory.
They were, they started fucking on the side.
She says, I did end up having that tough conversation with Nat, my friend, and we are moving past it with a bit more boundaries in our friendship. We are still very close. I also brought up the topic of my directness or lack thereof to my therapist, and we are working on it. She made a good point of me having a fear of male rejection, which resonates and feels like a tangible thing I can heal, let go of. I'm grateful to Nick that he pointed that out because my lack of directness bleeds a lot into my life, not just romantic
Wait, what
dynamics.
did I point out?
That she
The fear of rejection.
and that she's not very direct. Like she, in
Oh,
her
yeah,
mind, it was
yeah,
clear
no.
to her that she had feelings for Rory, and you were like, it's not clear at all. I'm sure he's very confused. You're not being very direct.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah. But she said, I never came clean to Rory about my crush. He never really came around with any effort, and I don't know, when I thought about it, I realized that I was briefly dickmatized and telling myself a story of what he could be rather than taking him for what he showed me he is. Maybe if we connect again, I'll come clean about the potential I thought I saw. Honestly, I was kind of just waiting to listen back for how Nick worded it so that she could tell him
Well, it's out.
through our words. Yeah. Girl.
Episode 640.
But she says now 8 years single.
I think
Queen.
she's chickening out. I do. I
What?
think she's making excuses.
Well, she said,
But what if she realized she was dickmatized and she actually doesn't want to pursue something with Rory?
That would have been fine until she immediately followed it up with, but if we hook up again, maybe I'll tell him.
but she does say like, I got back in my lane and stopped focusing on the boy drama, which kind of is I don't know, as a way of phrasing it, makes it seem like it's not super impactful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is her guy. And my insistence on her saying it is more like an exercise for her
Like
rather
a
than
lesson.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like get good at just being honest with people about your feelings, especially the people you're getting naked with. You know, it's good practice to be open with those people about how you're feeling, however it is you're feeling.
Especially if now she's like, I don't really know if I even want things to go that way with him. Then there's like no stakes to just be like, I kind of had feelings for you. I don't know if I do anymore.
My gut tells me the I don't know if I do anymore is her trying to read the situation. She pointed out that he's not doing the things, that he's not the if he wanted to he would type of things that make it obvious.
He's not
that-
our podcaster.
Yeah. He's not going out of his way. And so she is using that to, so now she's just like anticipating the potential rejection. And so she's backed off as a result of that. And she might be reading the situation correctly, but the point is she doesn't really know. And as someone who's acknowledged and admitted this habit of avoiding, upfront communication and just being direct and putting yourself out there and being vulnerable at the risk of being rejected, this seems awfully too similar to this pattern. We're very convincing liars to ourselves. Amanda and I were talking about this after we were recapping episodes 1 through 4 of Love is Blind. It's like what I loved so much about, Love is Blind in general, and specifically this season, is like it really shows the subtleties between people's versions of their stories. And when I say no one lies to us, more than we lie to ourselves, you have a bunch of people in Love is Blind like telling these little slight lies to what really truly themselves, they're communicating to their castmates and things like that about like, well, I didn't really want them, or they didn't really want, it's like we like to ease the blow of us feeling rejected or when we feel not enough. And my gut tells me is that there's still something there. If she can say, well, maybe if we hook up in the future, maybe I'll tell him my potential class, tells me there's still something there. And even that something there is to simply say, hey, this is not transactional for me. This is not like us just fucking when we're horny. Like I feel some kind of connection. Don't know what that connection is, but like I just want to be upfront about that with you. And that's like healthy communication. And I think our wonderful writer inner is, might be talking herself out of healthy communication, of which she has a pattern of. And we're very clever liars to ourselves, is all I'm saying. So something to consider if you're listening. There is no harm in just putting it out there, other than, yes, a little disappointment potentially. I feel like we have a pretty good track record of challenging people, and we have many people like this. They generally always feel better afterwards, and it's never usually as hard as they anticipated. When was the last time we've challenged someone to speak up and say something? They're like, never fucking again.
And I think that's because people know that, you do challenge people or like feel comfortable not sugarcoating things. Like I think oftentimes people like kind of seek that out when they call in. Like they already have that inclination of knowing that they want to be held accountable to do something that's a little more brave or direct or communicative.
Yeah, I don't really care about this guy. I just care about her ability to
feel empowered to communicate how she feels.
And not kind of Jedi mind trick herself into why this, you know what, I will next time, or, oh, this isn't the right time to be communicative, or I don't really need to right now, because that's her bad habit. She's very good at convincing herself that it's not necessary, that direct communication isn't necessary. And she's very good at doing that. And my guess is she's doing it here a little bit.
Totally.
If you're listening, there's still time.
Or if it's fizzled out, let it fizzle out for good.
Yeah. Don't fuck again. But if you do,
gotta say something.
So Aaron says, yes, I am dating someone I'm really excited about now. I've tried to be really direct and not play games with her, and it's going so well. Our first date was in August, and it took me 6 dates before I finally kissed her, which was crazy. She's 23 and I'm 29, so I'm slightly concerned about that, but mostly just trying to think of how I should ask her to be my girlfriend. Weird, her sister also dated that man from the threesome, and I've heard he's getting a dose of unrequited love from someone overly casual, so
Wait, hold on.
it
The
works.
girl she's dating,
Her sister
hooked up with the guy she had a threesome with.
Yes.
And if my memory serves, she had also hooked up with this guy outside of the threesome.
I believe so, yeah, because I don't think Nat knew that Aaron and Rory had kind of had more interactions outside of it.
So she dated, okay, interesting.
And then she says, I've heard he's getting a dose of unrequited love from someone overly casual.
What's that mean?
So,
like he has a fuck buddy.
Yeah, but maybe he wants more. He's not getting what he wants, which is kind of, I feel like how Aaron
What's
felt.
that word mean?
Unrequited means it's not coming back the other way.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Aaron says, but maybe it's his own medicine. So
based off, what does she mean by that?
Because I think that's how she felt with Rory, the unrequited love. So it's like, hope it works out, but might be a bit of karma.
So she liked Rory and Rory didn't like her. Is that right?
Or maybe he just wanted something more casual or didn't want to pursue.
But now she's dating a woman.
Yes. And it seems like it's going well. She's wondering how to ask her to be the girlfriend.
What happened to the other girl?
To Nat?
Yeah.
Nat was not part of.
She's just dead.
Not in the update. Not in the update.
Not with us anymore. All right. So,
any advice of how to ask someone to be your girlfriend?
Do you want to be my girlfriend? I think she's paying too much attention to Rory still.
I agree. I wish Rory hadn't been a part of this update. I wish it would have just been focused on her current relationship.
And how did she find out? Do we know how she found out that her new love interest's sister hooked up with Rory? Roy?
My guess is she heard it through her soon-to-be girlfriend's sister, like the update of Rory and that he's having this unrequited love and isn't too happy.
Does her new girlfriend know about this?
The sister might be keeping tabs as well.
Does the new love interest girl know about this?
We should ask.
Yeah, it's hard as... I think she should tell her.
About the threesome?
Yes. Well, I mean, okay, first of all, she knows our caller. So how did she find out? Which means, like, clearly, I don't know, she's tapped in, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, so how did she find out about this sister, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's close to home. So it's likely that she could find out regardless. And the more close to home it is, if I'm making any sense, the bigger it feels like she was keeping it from her, so to speak. It's one thing to be like, it's not like, I don't think when you start dating someone, you have to go through your whole like roster and be like, well, just, I dated this person, we hooked up with this person, and they went to third base with this person. I don't think you need to do that. But every once in a while, Natalie and I will walk into a room and it's kind of like an understanding, like if she has to interact with someone, where like I have a past with that person, or vice versa, we like to give each other a heads up because it kind of feels foolish to interact with someone that has a past, whether it's meaningful or not, and by meaningful, I mean like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird.
We don't know if she hasn't already, because how she started this update was, I've tried to be really direct and not play games with her, and it's going so well. So maybe the two of them have had really honest and open conversation.
Yeah, maybe she knows.
Maybe she knows.
Okay. As far as, I don't know, ask her, listen, like, I really like you. I've really been excited about getting to know you. I'd love to keep doing that. I'm not seeing anyone else. You're not seeing anyone else. I'd like to, put a label on it or whatever. I think it's more, rather than saying a label, I think you go that far where you say, I like you. I don't want to date anyone else. I'm really excited where this could go. And if they say me too, then you could say, well, I'd love to be able to call you my girlfriend. Something like that. And then if they say, well, I'm not big on labels, red flag. But yeah, I'll just do that. All right. Well, good luck.
Simple.
Thanks for the update. It's time for our next caller. Welcome back, Morgan.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
We're doing honestly better than I was the last time we spoke.
Well, last
time. To say that.
Well, that's good to hear. Last time we spoke, you called in and you had just recently broken up with your partner, your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Is it boyfriend right now? Fiance?
Fiance at the time.
It was fiance at the time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you had some regrets, and really at the time you were calling in kind of seeing how maybe you could salvage or fix the relationship and things like that. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Okay. The more we spoke, the more it seemed like I became more and more confused as to why you wanted to fight for the relationship, because you described him as selfish to a fault, I think was, a phrase that you used. But yeah, it just seemed like the more we spoke, the less happier you seemed about the relationship. And so I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong at any point here.
You're good so far.
But the more we spoke, the more it seemed like you were just kind of having, I don't know, maybe seller's remorse, if you will. Like you had the relationship ended, but as one does with relationships, you started probably reminiscing about the past, et cetera, et cetera. We're afraid about maybe, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Let's actually play a quick clip to remind our audience, for those people who didn't get to listen to Morgan's first call, just to bring everyone up to speed.
My name is Morgan. I'm 28, and I broke off my engagement to my fiance, and I want to try to work things out.
Okay. Does he know that?
Yes.
He does. What was his response?
It was a mixed bag of, I don't know, and I don't think I can do that right now. That was about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. How long were you dating for? How long were you engaged for?
We were just shy of 6 years dating, and within that 6 years, two of those, the last couple of months were the engagement process.
And how did the engagement come to be?
I was not surprised. Basically, the week before, and even some weeks and months before, I'd been expressing like, hey, we've been together this long. I feel like we're in a place where we can do this. I don't understand what the holdup is, or if there is a holdup of some kind. But so basically, I was just trying to gauge, like, is this even part of your plan? And so I put him kind of on the spot about the week before, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on with you, but you need to figure something out fast, or else I'm gone. After he proposed, after I said yes, everybody was up in arms about like planning. And then he started talking about like, I really want to get married in like a year from now. And I just said, whoa, hold on. I wanted to know that this was where you were, not necessarily that we had to get married right away, but I also wanted to be able to have like time to work through things, get my money together, to be able to pay for everything. And I also wanted us to just make sure that like personally and together that we were in a good place, because we had just had a big blow up like the week before. After I said, let's hold up, he said, it's fine. Then eventually like communication that was typical, like the regular phone calls, text messages, whatever we do, just stopped completely. I would get little stuff here and there throughout the day, maybe once or twice, when it would typically be significantly more. And that went on for about 3 weeks. Like he didn't say anything when he like stepped back, he just stepped back. And then after that, he kind of came back around, and I brought that up to him and I said, hey, like when you do this, when you step away, take space without communicating with me about like what's going on and what you need or like anything, I feel like you're just leaving the relationship, because I don't know when you're coming back and you don't want to address it when you do.
This was around you being like, I'm not ready to get married in a year, essentially, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then after that, he did the same thing for another month. So the first time that he stepped back, I said, I'm not doing that again. And then he did it again. And I realized that later that reason for him stepping back was completely different from the first time. He had a physical health thing going on and some things with his job he wasn't really happy with. And I feel like his mindset was, this is stuff that I'm personally dealing with. I should be able to deal with this myself. I don't want to get anybody else involved with it. And so when he did that, it just kind of was like, well, how can I support you? How can I be here for you? I can't, fix what's going on with you physically, and I can't give you a job, but like, what can I do to support you while this stuff kind of gets worked out? And that process went on for about a month of me just like asking. And every time it was, I don't know. That's when I started to feel like really lonely in our relationship, where I felt like, here I am, I'm representing like us as an engaged couple, but you're not here physically. After a while, I just asked, like, do you feel like you even have time for a relationship? Because I feel like I'm just in it myself. And then he took a second, thought about it, and said, I don't think I have time for a relationship right now. And then I said, then I can't be here in this capacity if that's how you feel.
Why do you want him back?
It was the history, and it was like the amount of time that at least I had invested in our relationship.
You don't think he's invested anything?
I think he invested something. I wouldn't say it was on a similar level.
Okay. I'm so like fascinated by your relationship. It sounds kind of loveless, emotional. Just how you're describing it. I don't know. I think it's alarming to hear you say that over the course of 6 years, you feel like you've put in way more than he's put in. And I feel like empathizing with each other would go a long way. I get the sense there's not a lot of that going on. It's a lot of you guys communicating what you guys aren't getting out of this relationship.
Yeah, I would say for the empathizing, I could have probably done better about that. I guess I'm also thinking like just historically, I don't feel like the same has been done for me. And it's not that I'm not trying to do it out of like any kind of retaliation towards them or anything like that. But it's just kind of like, I'm telling you what I need, and it seems like you're blatantly disregarding it.
There's a lot that we can talk about and kind of the nitty gritty of the relationship. But I think more than anything, we kind of have to look at this relationship from a big picture standpoint. And big picture is you've been dating this guy for 6 years. You get engaged via stress. You know, the catalyst for a proposal wasn't based off of like, we're just so in love and we're ready and we're excited about our future together. It was you were feeling a little disconnected. You expressed some expectations. He met those expectations. I hope that he was excited when he did it. And I'm sure he was, you know, like it didn't sound like you forced him to do it. And then he sounded like he got excited. And then because of this communication, it sounded like your body told you the truth. And the truth is like something felt wrong. You know, why get married if you're not ready to get married in a year? You know? And if you're not ready to get married in a year, why is it so important you to get engaged? Well, I mean, I get why. You wanted some security. You felt, you know, but instead of getting engaged, maybe you just needed to get more connected. Now, you guys weren't connected when you got engaged, and therefore there was a disconnect in expectations of when you got married. You expressed that disconnect. He felt it was personal to him. It felt like you just fucking made me get engaged. Like I just proposed, and now like you don't want to marry me. I'm so confused and frustrated. You know, but that's just a product of you guys not being connected. And again, back to like how, you know, when I ask you to describe how this relationship made you feel, it's not super positive words, you know, like I'm sure he's a great guy and you love him, but at the end of the day, you don't feel like he's doing his part. If you want to work it out with him, you need to try to empathize with him. You need to lead with love and communicate first how you feel about him. Why do you want to be in this relationship? I love you because of this. This is, you know, you express positive things that you see in him, what reasons you believe in him, why you think he's a good enough man for you to spend the rest of your life with. And then maybe you can communicate like things that you would like the relationship to work on, ways that you fell short, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe writing in a letter. I know I said that a lot, but I think it helps put people's, you know, put your thoughts together. You can kind of look at it. But in the time being, you might have these conversations with yourself and realize, I don't know, like maybe I want to get back in this relationship for all the wrong reasons. Because you don't sound like you were all that happy. I guess that's my point in that relationship. I don't get the sense that you're actually wanting to get back together with this guy. You're responding out of fear. I'm getting a sense that maybe you just need to take a step back, accept that maybe this relationship isn't your future. I don't know if it is, but I think you just accepting the possibility that it isn't will take a lot of stress off your shoulders. And maybe this is just, it's time to move on, you know? Okay. So in your words, Morgan, what was the advice that I gave you? And how did you receive that advice? And where are we now?
Okay, so the biggest piece of advice at the end of everything that you gave was to give space, really, for both him and for me.
Okay.
To really like allow some space for me to like truly think about everything, reflect on everything, and probably for him to continue to do the same. I don't remember exactly when we spoke, but I want to say at some point in the maybe 2 to 3 weeks after, I think I started like getting my feelings. I reached out just to check and see if like he was like doing okay. Like if any of the issues he was having like with his job and with his health, like were any of those resolved. I wasn't necessarily expecting anything. Maybe unconsciously there was like a hope of some kind. But overall in my head, my gut was probably saying, no, don't even put that out there. And then maybe a few weeks after that, I wasn't doing anything. I didn't say anything. I removed him from all my socials because, of course, algorithm all the time. So the first thing that I would see if somebody was to comment or share something, it would probably be his. And I didn't really want to see that on my page. I also kind of have been thinking about like advice that you've given to other people, just like allowing them not to have access to you. And that was a way that I felt like I could do that.
For sure.
I remember I asked you, what do I do with like pictures and things like that. They're gone, deleted, removed.
Good for you.
Yeah. But going back to a few weeks ago, I actually got a text message from him. I deleted his number, but I memorized his number just because I've known it for so long. So I knew it was him. It was kind of unexpected because I was actually in the middle of something like work related. So kind of the last thing that I thought I would get. He had noticed that I removed him from my socials, and basically was like, so do we even need to talk later on, probably around this time, about anything? Since you've removed me from all your socials, it doesn't really seem like you want to talk. And I said, I only want to have a conversation with somebody who's willing and wanting to have a conversation with me.
Yeah, I mean, that him saying that is such a bullshit thing to say. It's, you
Right.
you got under his skin. You made a move, so to speak.
Yeah.
That he had no say or control over.
Mm-hmm.
He found out about that move, bothered him, and that was his way of trying to make you feel bad about not considering his feelings, even though you're not in a relationship with anymore.
Right. Then that's how I was looking at it too. I was like, I mean, I removed you because there's no reason for me to have you on there right now. So what's the what's the point? And then he said, we can talk. He didn't say, yes, I would like to talk. No, I wouldn't like to talk. He said, we can talk, but it will just be a conversation. And he knows what the conversation was supposed to be about. So for him to, in that way, pull a power move, I was just kind of like, well, if that's all you're willing to do, I feel like I've done enough of that. And we can just like move on from here. It doesn't have to be anything like more than what it was. We can literally just more or less let it go.
Yeah.
And you do whatever you want to do. I do whatever I'm trying to do. And whatever you choose to do, I hope you're happy with that. And then he apologized for, and I'm wasting my time and not being the person that I needed in a partner, which I felt like was kind of weird. So I was like, so you knew this.
He was doing that for pity.
And I was like, okay. So I was like, me too. I mean, I tried the best that I could, but everything that I was communicating just didn't really seem like you wanted to do that or didn't care enough to do it. Eventually, I got tired of texting and I started like leaving voice notes because texting long things like that is really annoying and he likes to hide behind text messages. So I was like, okay. But in that voice note, I just kind of like outlined some behaviors that over the years, at the time, like I thought I was overlooking, and maybe it was like more so like pent up resentment, like things that were hurtful and things that really bothered me, and things that I needed from him that I wasn't getting, that he was willingly choosing not to give, but would still say, hey, okay, I'm going to do this, or hey, I want to be there. And I would think, well, if you want to be here and you want to do this, you would do these things, and you're not. After a while, I just left it. And then the next day, I got another message. I did nothing. Like I said, I've done nothing at this point, but simply do whatever I want to do, which is not really talk to him. And he had said something like, I realize now that what I said when I said I didn't have time for you, that's not what I meant to say. And I was like, so what did you mean to say? Because that's what you said. And he said, all he could say was, I don't know, but I know it wasn't that. And I was just like, so it took you 2 months for you to still come back and tell me that you don't know. And that was really all I needed to know. That told me that nothing was really all that different.
Yeah, he's negotiating with you.
Yeah, I was just like, nothing was really different. One of the things that I've told him that he should try this one day, which is, of course, go to counseling like on his own, because I do it myself and we did it together. Told me he was not doing that because I felt like he was still flying by the seat of his pants with that response. I'm like, at this point, if you've been trying to work through something, you should know. I would like to think that you would know. After 6 years, you should know, but you don't.
Yeah,
know.
I don't
So
think he was
just like,
trying. I think all he was trying to do is negotiate with you. And what I mean,
Yeah.
and he wasn't willing to change. He wasn't really willing to do anything differently. He was just trying to get you to do what he wanted. And he was just trying to figure out different ways to say it. You know what I'm saying? Because like, right? Like, it's not that complicated. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, this is what I need, X, Y, or Z. Are you interested in doing it? Yes, no. You know, he was just like, no, you know, but that's not how, you know,
Really?
it's like, he just wanted you to settle, really. He wanted you to not be frustrated with what you were frustrated with.
Mm-hmm.
And he was expecting you to kind of just get over it.
Yeah.
You know?
Not happening. I had been doing his way for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
and like, this is the guy you described as selfish to a fault. So, you know,
yeah.
that is tracking with, you know, just kind of these little breadcrumby responses,
Mhm.
getting your hopes up, you know, that shitty, like oh, I just want to say, like, I didn't mean to say that. And you're like, well, you know, that gives you
That's
hope.
what you said.
That gives you hope, you know, and you're like, oh, what? Oh, maybe he's going to say something that really is going to change everything. And he's like, well, I don't really know, but I didn't mean that. What the fuck? You know, it's like, what are you supposed to do with that?
If you're going to negotiate, at least do it properly.
Yeah.
That's all
So
I'm
when was the
gonna
last
say.
time you spoke with him?
Oh gosh, hold on. I actually wrote all of this down. Let me look at the dates that I wrote. This was like around mid-November, so a little over a month ago at this point.
Okay. And are we done?
Yeah. Yeah, we're done.
Okay. Because he's probably not going to stop reaching out.
Yeah, that's
What?
true. Or it might be a while before the next time. I know at some point.
Yeah.
I hate that I have to deal with this, but I have to see him in person at some point next year.
Why?
But
why do you have to see him in person?
So we have lots of mutual friends. And one of those sets of mutual friends is getting married. And we are both in the wedding party for one person. I'm with the bride, he's with the groom.
When is that
and
wedding?
I agreed to this before we split.
Okay.
Before things went way downhill.
When's the wedding?
April.
Okay.
April 2024. We got some time.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. I think in the meantime, you could block him. And again, when you do, and he gets inevitably like annoyed or mad about it, you can just say, "Listen, it's no offense, literally. I'm not trying, you know, but every time you reached out, I needed to move on. It's that simple. And like we just need to have conversations. You know, I still, you know, respect you, and I think you're swell, and blah blah blah. But you know, but like, yeah, I think between now and then, you don't need to be reaching out to him. He's going to use this wedding as a way to like reach out to you, like come February, be like, hey, so I got this wedding coming up, and like maybe, you know, this or that. And I promise you, in the back of his mind, he very much is thinking about this wedding as an opportunity to check in with you. So you need to do, you know, what you need to do is I'd love for you to bring a date.
I would love for me to bring a date. I have to look around and see.
But regardless, if you find a date, you know, the good news is just make it about your friend. Get your hair done or something. You know, I mean, everyone dates their hair done in a wedding. I'm sure you'll look great, you know, but like, you know, spend the next few months like really investing in yourself and show up drop dead gorgeous. And if you can get a date, great. If not, no big deal. But yeah, these are hard. It's so hard to move on from someone, especially when you had a very serious relationship and you took some major steps in engagement. Obviously, you expected to have a life with this person, so it can be really tough. So, but it seems like you're doing a good job not making it any tougher than it already is or needs to be. And I think the best thing you can do now is really try to stop thinking about it and talking about it with your friends. You know, I don't know how much of this you are talking about with your friends, but you know,
everybody knows.
Okay. Well, you need to stop talking about it with your friends.
They only know. So
it just keeps it just keeps your energy there.
Yeah, I know. I know. Even as I was doing it, I'm like, I know I'm putting energy where I'm not supposed to, but I did not want even people that we as a couple at the time were relatively close to. I didn't want them to just like pop up out of nowhere and be like, so when is it? I didn't want any of that. So I said, more or less, it's done. Don't ask about it. Now you know it's done. Just don't ask, more or less.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think you'll have moments, you know, the holidays are coming up, whatever. It's an easy opportunity to feel sad, but like just do your best to not go down those kind of self-pity rabbit holes and be optimistic about 2024 and all the new exciting beginnings and what that might bring you. And just be excited about the unknown, because the unknown can be scary, but also can be exciting. So just keep that energy positive, keep that mentality positive. It goes a long way. And you know, the difference between where you're at now, and I've been there, but where you're at now, it could, you know, you could sit in this kind of sadness for a while. You could extend it if you want. It's not that hard to extend it. You know, you keep talking to friends and you get new friends, and every time someone gives you an opportunity to talk about heartbreak or sadness, you jump right in and you lead those conversations and you reminisce, and you know, or you don't block him. He reaches out, you know, and you're spending a decent amount of energy thinking about him on some level. Or you do the opposite, which is you really remove all that access. You do block him. Don't let him trigger you with a unexpected text message. Continue to not talk about with your friends going forward. Really get into investing in yourself. What have I, you know, this relationship took a lot of your energy. So what do you want to do with that free time, you know, so to speak? All that energy that went to him, where do you want it to go next? And think a lot about that. Maybe travel a little bit. Maybe, you know, try new things, whatever it is. Date, you know, could go into dating other people. You know, I would like to, you know, maybe divvy that up a little bit, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but think about that and get excited about that, and it'll go a long way.
Yeah, we had a couple of things down the pipeline. Like, number one, even though I had already started it, I chose to restart your book.
Okay.
Saw you looking at it a little bit earlier, or maybe it was your coffee. I don't know. But I plan to, first of all, read it all the way through now with a new headspace, and then, you know, kind of like gather my thoughts that way. My sister and I have got some business ventures that we're trying to build up. So
that's awesome.
Got a lot of different things in the pipeline.
That's great. Well, it's already sounds like things are heading in the right direction. You even said it yourself. You feel better than you did last time. And if you keep doing what you're doing, it'll only get better.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to be thankful you didn't end up with them. Because as much as you spent those 6 years, and I'm sure you had a lot of good memories, you know, it sounds like those last few years were pretty frustrating, you know?
Yeah, they were.
And a lot of your relationship was built off of potential and hope rather than what you're actually receiving. And eventually you're going to be able to find, you know, someone who's actually willing to do those things for you.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck. Thank you so much for the update. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Of course. Same to you guys. Thank you for reaching back out. I really appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to share.
We appreciate you taking the time to share with us.
All right. Take care, guys.
Likewise. All right. Bye-bye. Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills. It's truly a magical gift. I know so many of you are listening to the show and you have apps that you're not using. You have money that you're burning. Take out $20 out of your purse or wallet and just light it on fire, because that's what you're doing. You might as well. Stop doing that. Let Rocket Money help save you money. Rocket Money's been helping save its members on average $720 a year with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. They helped me save over $1,000, truly. They'll even try to get you a refund for the last couple months of wasted money and negotiate a lower bill for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. So whether it's canceling unused subscriptions, helping you negotiate lower bills, or just monitor your spending, you gotta use Rocket Money. Rocket Money is doing such great things with helping people manage their finances. So you gotta check out Rocket Money. Stop wasting money on things you do not use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/VIALL. That's rocketmoney.com/VIALL. rocketmoney.com/VIALL. Hey, all you problem solvers and puzzle lovers out there, I got a new exciting game for you. It's called Odd Pieces Puzzles. That's right. Imagine stepping into a world where solving a puzzle is not just a pastime, but a journey of self-discovery and connection. These puzzles aren't just about replicating the expected. They are about creating the unexpected.
First, you read a short comic that introduces you to the world, the characters. Then step 2, you build the puzzle, but the puzzle is a bit different from the image you see on the box. So the more pieces you put together, the more you'll find out what happens in the story. So after you complete the puzzle, you open the secret envelope, and then you get to see what story the envelope will reveal, and you have your big aha moment. This takes puzzling to the next level.
So I took a leap into the world of Odd Piece Puzzles, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. I'm all about the unexpected joy it brings. Odd Piece Puzzles redefines relaxation and quality time. It's not just a puzzle, it's a journey that connects you with yourself and those you care about. Ready to add a touch of unpredictability to your downtime? Head over to oddpieces.com/VIALL and treat yourself to an exclusive 15% off with code VIALL. Elevate your downtime with surprises that only Odd Piece Puzzles can bring. This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar. IQ Bar. You know them, you love them. That delicious, great tasting snack that's actually good for you. Whether it's their IQ bars, their IQ mix sticks, their IQ Joe sticks, it doesn't matter. IQ Bar has a variety of snacks that help keep your energy up, all while enjoying a delicious snack to, get you through your day. The IQ bars are plant-based protein bars packed with high-quality ingredients for both you and your body and brain. IQ bars are vegan, gluten-free, and low in both sugar and carbs. It's shocking how good they are considering how healthy they are for you. The IQ Mix is a zero-sugar drink mix that hydrates with electrolytes, improves mood with magnesium, and boosts clarity with the lion's mane adaptogen. And on top of all its benefits, it's also very delicious. Blueberry, pomegranate, blood orange, peach mango, lemon, lime. All delicious flavors.
I wasn't a huge protein bar person beforehand because I felt like it was very concrete, chalky, not great flavor. But the banana nut was so good, and then it had a little bit of crunch with that nut in there. And so honestly, it was my favorite way to start the day. You can also do it with a cup of the IQ Joe. We can last off of IQ Bar, whether it's the bar, whether it's the mix, whether it's the Joe. Sign me up.
Refuel smarter with IQ Bar's Ultimate Sampler Pack. That's 7 IQ Bars, 4 IQ Mix Sticks, and 4 IQ Joe Sticks. And now our special podcast listeners get 20% off all IQ Bar products. Plus, get free shipping. To get your 20% off, just text FILES, FILES, to 64,000. That's FILES to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
So, before our final caller, we have our final written update. So this is from Madison. She was our texting office hours caller on episode 629 with Teddy Mellencamp, and basically was asking you and Teddy how to address the fact that her friend was kind of being very handsy with her baby, at parties, and every time they were together, she'd take the baby, she'd kiss the baby, and she wasn't really sure how to address it because she's very conflict averse. And Teddy was great with advice, being a mom herself and having other girlfriends who had various levels of, touching and grabbing and all sorts of lovely parenting.
Yeah, no, I
things.
totally remember. Let's play a quick clip for everybody so they make sure that they are brought up to speed. How can we help Madison?
So I have a newborn baby and I am not okay with how my friend is acting around my baby, and I don't like conflict. So I'm looking for advice how to set some healthy boundaries.
What is she doing? Is she just shaking your baby or?
No, none of that.
Okay.
So she got really excited when I was pregnant. We weren't super close. We're friends / acquaintances. But she dubbed herself Auntie right away. And when my baby was born, the first time she met her was at a wedding. And she immediately went to my baby who was in the car seat asleep and unbuckled her and picked her up right away without asking me, and continued to walk around this wedding with her the entire time, and never picked up on cues that I wanted to have the baby back, and never shared her with anybody. And then that's happened pretty much every time we've been in a setting with lots of people. I've actually had one time where somebody made a comment oh, I'd love to hold your baby later. And she had the baby and she actually just walked off, completely heard this, walked off and ignored the request, which was super awkward for me.
Sounds like a Lifetime movie.
So recently I was at her house and I made a comment that my baby was teething and her gums were a bit sore. So she just walks off with my baby, comes back with a freezy in her mouth without asking me at all, which I don't think is appropriate to put things in a child's mouth when the parent's not okay with this. She's also constantly kissing my baby, which one peck or whatever, that's fine, but it's constant.
Yeah, and her dubbing herself onto you and you guys aren't even that close of friends. I was bold.
I guess my first question is why did you go to her house?
She had grabbed something for me and I was going to pick it up.
Okay.
So I think you just said something that struck me. She was doing something for you. So I think that's also where the lines start to get blurred, because if somebody does something for you, then all of a sudden they think that they have this level of comfortability with you.
That's how people make friends in LA.
Yeah. So
I'll pick up at the airport.
Yeah, I'll do this. I'll do that. I'm one of those no nonsense people, especially when it comes to my kids. I have my friends that that also have kids around my age that I've known them forever, that I'm listen, parent my kids the way you would parent yours. I trust you all, 100%. We're all on each other's team. But I also have people that are acquaintances that I don't trust, that I wouldn't put in that situation. And I would just be straightforward. You don't have to have confrontation, but I just say, hey, listen, I think like the relationship that you're building with my baby is making it hard for me at this point in time because this is, my newborn baby. I love them. I want to spend time. And every single time that I'm with you, you kind of overtake the situation. And this is really my first time to do this. And I just want to be able to have that quality time and just saying it. I mean, if she's going to get upset about it, then it's really not about your friendship at all. It's about the relationship she's trying to form with your baby.
I also think it's hard too, because I know in your email you'd said like you've had moments with her where you'll actually like put your arms out, as in I would like my daughter back, and she like laughs and doesn't give her back to you, which adds to a level of uncomfort.
What's your read? What's your gut? Do you feel like there's something kind of toxic or like unhealthy about this, or is she just not good at reading the room?
I think it's not reading the room and the social cues, and just it feels like entitlement to do things with my baby that are more like a motherly
How old
thing.
is she?
28.
Okay. So
Does she have kids?
Yeah.
She does have kids.
Okay. Is this your first child?
Mine? Yeah.
So, I mean, I
thought it would have been the opposite.
Yeah,
Like she didn't have a kids and now she's...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that she's trying to do anything that's malicious. She's probably just trying to help. But I think if it's making you uncomfortable, you just have to nip it in the bud right now. I would just say, listen, this is my first baby. I really want to have a bunch of firsts with her. I just need you to respect my space a little bit when it comes to her. Like if I hand her to you, it's because, I want to. But if not, will you just let me have that time with her? It means a lot to me right now. I know that you're a pro at this, like almost boost her up.
That's good. Yeah.
Like you're a pro at this, but this is my first time and I want to experience these firsts. And you can even make it about yourself. I'll say certain things like it makes me feel this way.
Yeah.
It makes me feel that way.
Can you ask me if you want to hold so-and-so, your baby? It just makes me feel anxious just in general when anyone grabs her without me knowing what she's doing. And like, can you just, I think that's great advice from Teddy.
Because then it's less about her and saying things like, I want to experience the first. It's like, oh no, this would be a rule for anybody, not just you. Or this happens when anybody takes her, or if she's out of my sight, or anytime someone puts something in her mouth. Like it's less personal in that way.
But also, like, I mean, if she's holding the baby and you want your baby, you gotta, it's your baby. So, like, instead of just holding your arms out and hoping she gets the point, you don't think she's someone who's good at reading social cues. I mean, at a minimum, I know you hate confrontation, but you need to just go ahead and ask for your baby.
And I know also as a first time, like there were moments where people would come in and like take over the situation almost as if they could do it better than I could. And you know what? They probably could. But I then would start to feel insecure. Like maybe I'm not as good as this person because they handled the situation so well or whatever it may be. I think also as new moms and the way that we feel when we have a baby, sometimes we will process things differently. So I just say, hey, listen, I'm just going through it and I want to experience everything. And it's not about you, but like, I'll hand my baby to you if I need help. Also, if you let her know in advance.
Yeah, like you're working on, hey, we're working with her on some sort of routine. I don't, right? Isn't that a thing?
I'm leaving my house now, but as a heads up, my baby is sleeping right now and I don't want her waking up. So please don't touch. Like if you give her advance notice and she still does it, then you're in for a bigger conversation.
And also you could just say, can you be, mindful? Like I just, a lot of germs going around. Can you not, kiss Grace on the mouth or whatever, things like that. Like you have every right to, it's your kid, and just ask nicely.
Or you can do it almost in a joking way. No mouth kisses, like no mouth kisses. And then she's not going to feel like she has to like overcompensate.
Yeah, there's a way to just sit down with her and kind of like Teddy and we've all said, kind of put it on you. Like, hey, as a new mother, I really look forward to this. And maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I really want to work on this. This made me anxious, and I know it's not you. You're obviously a great mother. Throw her a bone. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Shit like that.
I know you're trying to help me, but this is very important time for me that I want to focus on.
Yeah.
And that if she's offended by that, she'll probably be like, oh my gosh, I just saw this. And who knows, sometimes it also can shed a light on the energy that we're giving. I know sometimes people were trying to help me because I honestly looked frantic or I looked stressed or I looked overwhelmed. And so the women in my life would try to step in. And I had to finally put some boundaries down too and just say, hey, listen, I'm figuring it out. Sometimes it's going to take me a second longer to change a diaper than you because you've had 5 kids. Like, I just need a second. And they may cry for 10 seconds while I figure it out, but it's okay. And then you'll start to feel power in using your voice and knowing that what you have to say is worth being heard. And then it won't be such a big deal.
My husband can't wait for this to happen in front of him because he is not afraid to say something.
Well,
there we go.
Say
Yeah.
something.
Bring
Let
it-
him do it. If you really can't do it,
And
let
you don't
him
want
do
him
it.
to, or what have you like?
We haven't been in the situation where he has been there, but yeah, it really bothers him when I come home telling him what happened, and yeah, he's not afraid to
Well,
say
because he
something.
wants you to stand up for yourself, which you can.
Yeah.
You can do this.
I think if you handle it well, you'll give us an update and you'll be like, you know what? I wish I would have done this sooner. Think of it this way. If you handle it this way, and clearly you're going to be nice about it because you hate confrontation, so you'll probably apologize 5 times while setting a boundary. So try to work on that in general because and we've all been there. I think I know I'm someone who comes across as like, I don't give a fuck about confrontation, but like, I don't love it. I'm just like willing to do it when necessary, when I need to. But the point is like, yeah, like you're going to be super nice. And if she doesn't handle it the way we all expect, then that's a bigger red flag. You will reveal something about her as someone who like, you know what, maybe despite being in a small town, I need to separate myself from someone because like all I am asking is that she respects some real basic boundaries when it comes to my newborn child. And she is taking offense to that. And I was super nice about it. So like, maybe it is necessary. So I think only good things can come from you just very nicely complimenting her and then asking her to just, follow some very basic rules that like Teddy said, is this something that you're trying out as a mom and things that you're working on and you're trying some new practices and you're working on things and you appreciate her advice, but at the same time, you're also seeking out opinions about everyone and, you're really enjoying this experience being a new mom with your daughter and you really want to fully enjoy it. And you're just asking for her help as people love to think they're very helpful. Clearly this friend wants to be helpful. So make her think she's being helpful by respecting your needs as well.
It's not going to ruin it.
If it's
Not
ruined.
gonna, if it's ruined, then we've got some additional red flags we need to dig.
That's what I'm
into.
saying. If this is ruined, then this is not someone who's like interested in being your friend. They're interested in using you for your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let us know.
Keep us posted.
For sure.
So Madison writes, "Hi, Viall Files crew. I finally have an update for you. For months, I've struggled to tell a friend to stop kissing my baby. A few weeks ago, I was at a girls' night and this friend was also there. Ironically, she told a story about needing to set boundaries with her grandmother about kissing her daughters when they were younger. I added my thoughts and said, yeah, no one should be kissing your kids, especially during cold and flu season. Well, fast forward to this week. We went for a walk and my comment clearly hadn't made an impression. Sure enough, she picked up my daughter and immediately kissed her face. I finally said something. I took your advice and in a super playful way, I said, blank, you can't be kissing babies. She tried to tell me it was just on her cheek and not on her lips, but I stood my ground and said, no, you shouldn't be kissing babies at all. She seemed receptive. In hindsight, I worked up the conversation in my head and it wasn't as bad as I had anticipated. It felt really empowering to finally enforce this boundary. Thank you so much for your advice. Moving forward, I feel more confident that I can have these hard conversations right away and not let it go on far too long. Happy holidays to you all."
Amazing. Love. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's wild how unself-aware so many of us are. That's funny.
But
it's funny that
it's also so true though. Like sometimes you just build things up in your head. You're like,
totally.
this is going to be a huge argument and they're going to freak out. And then half the time it's just, you just make it out to be something it's not. And sure, sometimes people can be very reactive and create a mountain out of a molehill, but.
Well, it's also too, sometimes when we think it's going to be worse, right? Then we bring that energy into it. So it sounds like she tried to, keep it light, keep it like not attacking. I'm like, oh, you can't his babies like that. Oh, it's just on the cheek. I mean, no, but you really can't. And then it kind of clicked. Probably it sounds like with this woman, it's supposed to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, or attack her, be like, why? If you said you would, you got frustrated at your grandma, but now like. So, sometimes if we work it up in our head, we'll assume conflict. And then so if we assume conflict, we will act as if we were in conflict before we're even in conflict, and then attack, ultimately creating the conflict that we were afraid to create. But yeah, just a little bit of communication goes a long way. Love that. And
are you gonna say something if someone grabs your daughter and tries to kiss her?
Yeah, and I won't even be nice about it. Yeah. I'm like, hey.
I love that she countered first, and she was like, but it's just on the cheek. It's not on the lips.
Yeah, that
and
was
I was
her
like,
being
neither.
defensive. She knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knew. Yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey, I don't know where your fucking mouth's been.
Ew.
Keep your dirty little lips off my child.
Not the dirty little lips.
All right, let's get to our last caller. Welcome back, Liz.
Good to be back.
So Liz, this is the second update we've gotten from you. It's been quite a journey. The first
I think third.
Third. Is it the third?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the third time we're speaking.
Third update.
Third update. What was our
Fourth
second?
time we're speaking.
Fourth time we're speaking. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the first time you called in, it was all about you were out there dating, and I'm being crass, but out there, Liz, giving it up, just going down, sucking some dick, and not feeling like your needs were being reciprocated. It was a lot of you giving and not receiving. I think a lot of people, I think that call resonated with a lot of people. We had a lot of conversations about hookup culture and just, making sure you get yours type of thing. And if you are going to participate in hookup culture, and if you want to be successful in that, it's going to require a lot of upfront communication. Otherwise, you're just inevitably going to be disappointed like you were. And then you gave us some updates. You try to implement some of the things we talked about, some upfront communication. And it seems like things were taking a positive turn.
Yeah.
Bring us up to speed in your words, just like the two updates that we had.
Okay. The first update, I was implementing what we talked about and have since been doing the same. I have not been going down so easily or going at such a quick pace. I've been making sure that I get mine too.
Okay.
We're just taking things slower.
Great.
And then the second update, I had started seeing someone that had been about a month.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm remembering.
Yeah. Since then, I am no longer seeing this guy for a pretty strange reason.
Okay.
I think I mentioned last time he brought me some soup because I was sick. I had strep throat. Seeing him for the next few weeks, discovered like, oh, when I'm not on antibiotics, every few days after I see you, I get strep throat again. I got it 3 times. So I was essentially like allergic to this guy. He was definitely a strep carrier and he wouldn't take it seriously. I was like, the one thing that you can do if you want to keep seeing me is go and like get tested and take care of this. And he wouldn't really do it. He went to the doctor, but they wouldn't really take it seriously either. And so I was like, I can't see you. I'm going to keep getting sick. This is insane. I've never experienced anything like it.
How did you know it was him?
Because it was like clockwork. It was like 2 days after I would see him every time I would get strep throat. And then I stopped seeing him and I haven't gotten it again.
How many times did you get strep throat?
3.
Jesus Christ.
3 times over 6 weeks.
But he did go to the doctor?
He went to the doctor, but they wouldn't give him a culture.
Why
They
not?
only gave him a rapid test.
Okay.
And it was negative.
Sure,
And
because
I'm like, if you're a carrier, it would be negative.
And that is a
And then
thing. I am aware of that. That is a thing. Like you
Yeah.
can be a carrier.
And then
of
he was
strep.
like, he thought, this is kind of crass too, but he was like, I have this penis infection. And he thought that it was from that.
Why does he have a penis infection?
He's uncircumcised. The thing that that uncircumcised guys can get. So he thought that it was from that, but then I messaged my doctor and she was like, no, those are 2 different kinds of strep. So I really think that it was in his mouth and he just wouldn't take it seriously.
So you were like, I'm sorry, we can't keep dating.
Yeah. What a bizarre thing to happen. But I mean, that was, I think, indicative of some other red flags too.
Sure.
He lived about an hour away. So logistically it was kind of tricky. And he was he really wanted to leave his job and transition to another job. And he would say things like, if I found a great job in New York or Oregon, I would go. And I was like, why would you say that? Why are we dating then?
Yeah.
So there were other things, and
Okay.
financially he was having a bit of a tough time. Couldn't pay for my meals. We would like split everything, which is fine. But you know, it's a 38-year-old man.
A 38-year-old man.
Yeah.
How old are you?
27.
Yeah, he was going nowhere fast.
Exactly. But it was fun while it lasted.
Okay. And how is
and
dating?
I feel a little sorry for his next partner who continues to get strep throat from him.
What a bummer. Yeah, well,
It'll
he's in the past. We don't care about him anymore.
Yeah. He's in the past.
How's dating been since?
It's been going well. Really soon after that happened. In fact, so quickly that I gave this guy the strep that I had for the third time. I started seeing someone else. And initially, I really only met him because I saw him on Hinge. And I knew who he was because he's pretty successful in his field. I was like, why are you on Hinge? I thought it was a bot.
Like a public figure?
It was what?
Like a public figure of some kind?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Are you still talking?
Yes, yeah. That has been a bit of a complicated journey.
Why?
I have been thinking I would love to get your insight on this. But yeah, initially met just thinking like this would be a cool person to like even have a friendship with, but it went great. And it went at a pretty quick pace for like 3 weeks, really initiated by him. And by that, I just mean like texting me all day and wanting to see each other every few days. And then he went out of town for work stuff for about 2 weeks. And truly, like the second he got on that plane, the communication shifted. And I wasn't hearing from him for a few days at a time. And I was like, well, he's on a work trip. That's fine. I haven't experienced this before. Perhaps that's just because he's busy and he's in another country and we have a time difference. So I was like, I'll see what things are like when he gets back. And they were still feeling kind of, his communication was feeling kind of distant when he got back too. So I asked him about it. I was like, I know that we haven't been texting as much. I would love to pick things back up where we left them, but let me know where your head's at. And he said something like, yeah, to be honest, I'm not super sure where my head's at, but I'd like to keep seeing you too. Are you free this day? So I thought, okay, well, we haven't seen each other in a little while. Let's see how things are in person. So we saw each other pretty normal. But like at the end of the night, he just dropped me off and like that was the end of the night. Like we didn't go back to his apartment because he said it was messy. And I was like, that's bullshit. So that was feeling weird. So a few days went by, still kind of distant. And then I asked him again. I was like, what's going on? And then he hit me finally with the, I think I'm not healed from my last breakup.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, drag this out of you. Yeah. And then, and I didn't respond for like a day. And so he said, are you okay? Do you want to talk? And I said, you can call me if you want. And then we talked that night for like 2 hours. And then another phone call that week for like 3 hours.
Why? Then, what did you talk about? Are you his therapist?
A lot of stuff. Am I his therapist? I know it seems that way.
Well, I mean,
no, I mean, we talked pretty equally about me as well.
Okay. I just want you to be careful. Yeah. So advice, I mean, I know. Here's this guy. You've shown more interest in him than he has in you. Only simply on the fact that he went out of town, different country, and you spent time wondering about his frequency interactions with you.
Yeah.
You know, you followed up with him. So when I say he's more into you, you're more into him than he is to you, I'm basing it off of that information. You know, things can change quickly, whatever. But as of now, that seems to be the case. And then you checked in again. You had a date. He's like, you know, he thought his place was messy. You thought it was bullshit. Whatever. Maybe, you know, yeah. Like, was it bullshit? I don't know. But like, listen, it's okay for a guy to not want to like hook up right away.
Totally.
You know, like it's
no, we had already hooked up at that point.
Sure, but even still, you know, it's like you know, especially I think that's respectful. Like for a guy to like, if I'm unsure about my feelings, then us having sex is not consistent with what I'm saying, you know.
Yeah.
If I were, if man or woman, if I'm saying, hey, I'm unsure about where my head's at, but hey, by the way, do you want to go fuck? You're being kind of a hypocrite.
Exactly.
You know, and you are leading someone on, and you're confusing a situation. So I don't fault him at all for that. So then he tells you, hey, I'm still not over my ex. And the next thing you tell me is you've had 2 different long ass conversations.
Yes. And you're not going to like what happened after that.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I'm waiting. But do you see why I find that to be concerning before you even tell me? Because it's like you've allowed yourself, I don't even know what the conversations were about, but you've allowed yourself to kind of get more into friend zone territory.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Do you understand why?
Well, I agree, because at that point I was like, well, we're not dating anymore. You just told me that you don't want to date anymore.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I mean, I'm fucked up. I'm already thinking about another girl, and you're like, do you want to talk about it? Basically, the correct response would have been, oh, thank you so much for being honest with me. Breakups can be really hard. I've been there. I totally get it. But like, listen, like, if you ever work through that, and I'm still single, hit me up,
Right.
kind of very chill, very like, I don't got time for that without sounding bitchy or like crass or like, you're just more like, oh yeah, you empathize and you move on. But no, you're like, let's talk. Let me become your therapist. And
I know.
Now,
listen, with most people I would have, I'm just so fascinated by him as a person, and he's really
and that's
easy
fine,
to talk
and maybe he becomes a good friend. But as far as a romantic interest, you weren't doing things to help you close the deal, so to speak.
I agree.
Okay, so what else
I
happened?
assume that the deal wasn't closed, and the second conversation was much more like an exit interview for me. Like I was like, I've never like asked someone that I've dated, X, Y, and Z questions, and I would love to get this feedback.
Okay.
So that was very helpful.
What'd you ask?
I asked things like, did you see any red flags or like have any icks? But also like, when this thing happened, like where was that coming from? Like things that I hadn't asked him at the time that I had kind of like percolated on. A lot of things that were like retrospective, just reflecting on patterns that I've had, and wondering if he had any insight into that. Because I feel like I always get to the point of being in an exclusive relationship. Like I've had one boyfriend, but I've gone to this point like several times, and that's a pattern. So I talk about this in therapy, but the feedback that I seem to keep getting is like, it's kind of just the guys that you're picking.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did
Which
he
is a
say?
pattern for me as well.
What did the guy say? What you asked him?
When I asked him, that's what he said.
The guy, he said what?
He said, this sounds like it's just a result of the men that you're dating.
So the guy you were dating and your exit interview was giving you like relationship advice.
I asked for it, but yeah.
Okay. Just stop asking guys you're dating for relationship advice.
Well, it was an exit interview.
I guess, but like it's this one fucking guy you don't really know that well. And what gave him the qualifications to...
Well, who better to speak to that than someone who's actually dated me? Because I wanted to hear, like, was there anything in me that you noticed that you think contributes to this? Because I can, do the work within myself and go to therapy and
you really
get insight from other people, but I've never
asked
asked anyone whom I've dated.
I guess. I think
he's very, very honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I was like, you're not going to lie.
Yeah, but he also is just one man's opinion.
I agree. Yeah, of course.
You were emotionally invested.
No, I mean, I'm not taking his word as God.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely not. But I'm like, I've never asked anyone that I've dated these questions. So who better to speak to it than someone who's experienced it?
Yeah, I think you just need to slow down, honestly, in dating. I mean, I love the updates.
Yeah.
But our first conversation started with you being a pretty frequent dater and hooking up with these dates pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That shifted a little bit. That resulted into you meeting someone. You had a bizarre kind of breakup, strep throat gate.
So weird. Strep throat gate.
And then you found this other guy. And yeah, I think hey, you met someone that was semi-famous. You were fascinated by his career. That brings a natural chemistry. Slow down in general. When you meet a guy you like, you gotta slow down, because I think you start liking these guys too quickly.
I agree.
Before you really
get excited by someone who's excited by me.
Yeah, and we all do. But whether it's, giving a blowjob or you clearly you are seeking the approval of these men more than you should.
I agree.
And I think the blowjobs played a role in that. It was like, how'd you like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have no problem getting dates. And I think the more I really think, we're winding down 2023. I would love for you to take a pause on dating for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Not shut it down. If you meet someone, great, but I would take a pause on being so proactive when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
And I would take that energy and channel into things more specific to you and your career, your friends, and things like that. Just kind of reset a little bit. Not the whole year, but just slow it down, be more open to the people you do meet. But like this whole, I feel like 2023, at least, maybe longer, it's been a very proactive attempt on your part to go out, to meet men, to date, to try to find connections. And when one doesn't work out, you're already back out there. I mean, hell, you gave the next guy you dated strep throat. You hadn't even healed, literally,
I know.
from the guy. You know what I'm saying? So you are, that is a pattern, and that is a bit problematic, but that is, I think, playing a role. And it creates there's a little bit of desperation in there. There's a little bit of energy to that, constantly like, hey, you're and again, you're showing interest in these guys that haven't really earned it. Granted, minus this guy who is, a little famous, and that's exciting, sure. But, give it some time to breathe, when you get excited about a guy, just remind yourself, as I always say, like, I have a lot to learn. You don't have to shut it down with every other person just because you meet someone. Whatever you need to do to keep your mentality is more of a free agent until you're not a free agent. I think you are taking yourself off the market before anyone asks you to, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think people sense that. You're like, you caught me before they've even had a chance to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah.
Next time. I get it. I get he was direct. I get he was honest, but you don't need these guys' validation, and you don't need their approval for guys who don't want to date you, and you don't need feedback. Especially, you're in therapy, great. You've been a frequent caller of this. It's just like, other people's opinions of you are none of your business. And it's like, the more data, it's like, oh, I'm just doing it for data. I'm just doing it for research. I'm just trying to get honest feedback. It's just like, these are all a bunch of different guys with a bunch of different preferences, and you're over editing yourself, So now you're going to go into this next relationship with feedback you got from some other guy who you dated for a couple weeks. It's like,
I'm seeing him tonight.
Who?
This guy.
Why?
I know. Yeah. He's taking me to the symphony.
So you have a date with him?
Yeah, I guess. But that's what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
That he said, I'm not healed. I'm not ready to date. And then.
Yeah, but no, I get why. We've
been having these long phone calls, and then
sure, and
I saw him another time.
In a way, he's using you.
We're doing this.
He's using you. Well, I mean, not like in some sort of like evil way, but when you first met, you had a couple dates, you hooked up, it was nice. He's like, yeah, I met this nice girl. And you're like, hey, I met this guy. And then you went out of town, and you were like, and then you asked for answers. You asked for some clarity, maybe a little sooner than you should have, because like you were getting clarity from a guy, you were looking to set boundaries and expectations with someone you kind of barely knew. You had a couple good dates. Maybe even on the physical side, slow it down even more,
Yeah.
There's that. And then you asked for some clarity. He was like, I don't know, blah, 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 girlfriend from the past. Then you got on this phone, and you just got into this really kind of like, I think we're just friends now. Talking about exes, you're getting advice from him about other guys. And now he's like, yeah, now he feels comfortable asking you out to a symphony or whatever, even hooking up with you, because at any point when you say, but like, I'm confused, what are we, what's going on? He can play dumb. He can be like, well, I mean, we're chill, right? Like, we're cool. Like, we're talking about friends and exes. But now he, in the middle of him getting over his ex or finding some other girl, when he wants to go to a symphony, he's like, oh, Like, I'm just going to call my very chill friend who's like so chill that she'll let me talk about my past relationships and she tells me about hers. And we're like kind of friends with like maybe benefits sometime, but it's so chill. He's using you and you're allowing yourself to be used. And it's not like you're not getting anything out of it. You're probably looking forward to tonight. It's something to do. He's entertaining. He's fascinating. You get to go to a symphony. It's cool. So it's not like you're like some victim in this, but you're potentially wasting your time.
Yeah, I know.
Well, if you're going to go, I mean, I'm not telling you not to go to the symphony, but stop, like, reset expectations or just change, like, stop having these conversations about friends with them. I don't know, or be his friend. You have to decide what kind of relationship you want to have with this guy and stop giving him all the power to decide what this relationship is. If you want to be his pal, be his pal. And then you don't, and I asked you, well, what is tonight a date? You're like, I don't know. Again, that's you giving him all the power. You are letting him decide whether it's a date or not. And because you've had all
I think it's a date, but
you think
after what?
You think. You don't know. And I don't from what you've told me, I don't necessarily think it's a date. I think it's an outing of two friends. Yeah, you've hooked up and maybe there's a bit of a past, but you've also had a lot of very platonic and friendly conversations that like romantic people who just started dating don't have. And so that's what I'm saying. If it's a date, then you got to treat it like a date and let him know that you think it's a date. Right. Or you're going as friends. You have to stop letting him decide what it is.
Yeah.
Now, granted, tonight, go on the fucking symphony, whatever. But in the future, if he's like, hey, do you want to go out to dinner? And you could say, is this a date or are we just friends? If you just want to be friends with him, be his friend. You don't need to get clarification. But you accepted the symphony as a date, clearly.
Seems date-ish. Seems like a date-ish activity.
But how did you accept it? How did you accept the date? What I'm saying is, you said it seems date-ish. Before I got into a committed relationship, I had plenty of women friends that I would feel comfortable okay, you want to go to this party with me? You want to go to this wedding with me? You want to go to this symphony with me? And it was never going to be a date. So the fact that you're going to a symphony with a guy doesn't mean it's a date, even though it could be a date. But you literally said you had an exit interview with him. You see how you're confusing yourself and anyone listening.
Certainly. It's a weird situation.
It's not weird. No, it's not weird. You are complicating a situation that doesn't need to be complicated, and you're kind of having fun with it. I mean, you've heard me talk about drama before, and like
I know,
and then
story.
You wondering and calling in and talking to friends and like, is this a date? Is it not a date? Is fun on some level for you, even if it's simultaneously frustrating. It's drama.
Yeah.
Wondering. I think you need to be more intentional with your dating.
Yes.
I think you need to slow yourself down when you meet someone you like, and you need to stop letting these guys call all the shots. If you don't stop assuming you try. You're an adult. You're a very intelligent and capable person. So when this guy asked you out to a symphony, you could have been like, you could have asked for clarification right there. Are you asking me out as a date or are we going as friends? Because we've gone back and forth and he could have said, friends. At least you would have known. But now you're like, I think it's a date.
Yeah, I could ask him tonight.
Sure, you could, but I want you in the future to ask when they ask. Now it's kind of weird. Oh, is this a date? You might as well just go now and have fun.
Yeah.
Unless you want to get messy.
I don't want to get messy.
All right, well then I would just go and have fun and see where the night takes you. Mm-hmm. You might as well. I wouldn't hook up with him without a conversation before. If the night goes really well and he's like, hey, do you want to go back to my place? I would say no. And just be like, listen, I would love to, but like I just feel like I kind of assumed that we were going down more of a friend path. You're not ready to date. And like, I really think you're cool and I enjoy your company. I wasn't even sure if this was a date, but like, if this is, and if you really want me to come up, then I don't want to do the whole vague, is this or isn't this relationship? And I'm not pressing you for an answer. That's why I'm saying no. That would be you taking your power back. That would be you calling the shots. You've been far too kind of submissive. I want you to take the lead with the decisions.
Yeah.
Stop letting them call the shots.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you're always waiting for these guys to ask because your answer is always yes.
It's true.
Well, you got to change it. You're the
I
one
know.
looking for patterns, so.
I know.
All right.
This is good.
All right, well, go have fun in your whatever this is tonight and start making decisions for yourself and start taking your power back and speak up and stop looking for validation with these guys. And then regardless of, assuming nothing happens with this guy, if you get back into the single dating pool, slow down.
Yeah.
I
think so too.
Don't be so proactive with dating. Be available, keep those doors and windows open, but you don't have to necessarily go hunting or, so to speak.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck. Have fun tonight.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Well, thank you guys for listening. Once again, want to thank you all for tuning in this year. It's been a hell of a year. We got a hell of a year lined up for you next year. We love you all. Stay safe this New Year's Eve, whatever you guys decide to do. And we'll see you in the new year. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.